What is up, guys? In today's video, I'm going to be going over what I think are some of the best creative maps to help you practice and improve in Chapter 5 Season 2. As always, if you guys do enjoy this video, remember to give it a like, subscribe if you would like to see more. Comment down below what your favorite creative map is, or which one of the ones that I talk about you think is best. This video is going to have both builds and zero builds, but mainly focus on zero builds because my channel and my audience is mostly zero build players. And then also there's like kind of countless build maps out there that are just very good and very popular. So it's like not as hard to find good build maps as it is zero builds. The first thing we're going to talk about is going to be like aim and like mechanics and like edit course style maps. There's two that I want to talk about. The first is going to be Xerx's aim and mechanics map. It's kind of basic. I've talked about it in a lot of videos, but what I really like on this map is the shotgun room, especially for newer players, because I've often talked about how important I think it is to use your movement and aim kind of in unison in close range fights, and a lot of newer players struggle with that and just kind of like stand still while they're fighting. But in the shotgun room on this map, there is a movement option that you can shoot on the wall, and when you do that, it'll basically like send a force field at you that you have to dodge while shooting the targets, and this just kind of forces you to move around constantly while shooting. And I think it is one thing that is kind of essential for newer players. What I've seen a lot of times is just like they don't move while shooting as much, and getting that kind of habit down I think is huge for your improvement as a player. And then you can also build in this shotgun room and then, you know, shoot the target, reset the build, and do that again and again and again. Very basic, this map, and that's kind of the main room I use here along with the free building section. The next aim map is going to be Gloomzy's aim edit and piece control map. The aim sections here have a lot more options with various scenarios that you can use to practice aiming in different situations with different weapons. And I think for newer players, if you aren't that comfortable aiming, or, you know, maybe you just change your sensitivity and you're getting used to it, spending like 5 to 10 minutes here a couple times a week can definitely help you improve. There's also edit courses on this map, which again, if you're newer, I think can really help you in kind of getting the basics of editing, or if you just changed your keybinds, like getting used to them while editing. But I think if you're a more experienced player, or like you're used to your settings, you know, I really don't think these aim trainers and edit courses like really help that much. They're okay. I think mainly the shotgun like flick aim can be quite good, but like shooting the targets with ARs, I really don't think does that much to help you improve if you're already like, if you've already been playing for years and you're used to aiming, you know. But if you're newer, I think these maps can help a lot. Or if you're different input, like maybe you play controller, you switch to keyboard, I think they could be helpful. But I think if you're more experienced than just kind of practicing editing while free building and kind of flowing well through your edits and builds, or just playing maps where you can fight people, are going to help you improve much better than like shooting some like target dummies as they bounce around. So I think for newer players, these maps are great. If you've been playing for a while, I don't think you're going to go from like 8 out of 10 aim to like 10 out of 10 aim just by like shooting these targets. The next map is going to be Raiders Piece Control map. And if you are a builds player, I think this is probably the single most helpful practice map there is, because it combines pretty much every skill you need in build mode in Fortnite. Building, editing, piece control, and aiming. You got to combine that all to like quickly edit through the map, piece the bot, shoot them, and then it resets so quick that you can get in a lot of practice in a very short time span. So I think Raiders Piece Control map is amazing. And when I came back to Fortnite in 2021, this is what I felt helped improve me the most, especially because like the piece control meta really like advanced in the like year and a half that I didn't play the game in like 2020. For fighting, there's countless options out there. Like I said, though, I'm mainly going to go over zero build maps, because as far as building goes, there's already a lot of popular like zone wars or box fighting maps. You really shouldn't have a hard time finding them. But for zero build, the player base is smaller, especially like the player base that plays creative for some reason is much smaller. And so it can be somewhat difficult to find good maps that get updated with the newer weapons and stuff that also have like a consistent player base. The pit has both build and zero build options, or separate maps for builds and zero builds, and there's been a lot of drama recently with the creator of these maps. But I think the maps themselves are quite good because they're very simple. You have a wide variety of options as far as weapons go, and pretty much whenever there's a new weapon added to the game, it gets added to the pit very quickly. And these maps always have a good player count, which is great. You're not gonna have to worry about like, oh, there's nobody playing today, I guess I gotta find a different map. They're always very populated, and you can get into a lot of fights in a very short time span, which if you just want practice can be great. The quality of these fights aren't the greatest because I feel like with these maps being more popular, they have more casual players playing them that probably aren't going to be the best fighters. And then also you might just have people jumping on your head over and over again. But I think with creative, don't worry about winning the map or winning the round or having the most kills in the round. Just play to practice and get better or have fun or get XP. But if you're watching this video, you probably want to get better, right? So having some fights where people just jump on you with an auto shotgun might not be the most fun experience, but like if you get used to playing against that and outplaying that, it's probably better than a fight where the opponent just like stands there and lets you shoot at them with an AR mid-range, you know? So like the quality of these fights can vary and the quality of players can vary, but I think especially for newer players, if you just started playing the game, these pit maps can be very good in just helping you get the repetition of fighting over and over again and kind of like build that muscle memory and build that fighting skill. For builds, the map is fine, but you're going to encounter a lot better players in zone wars, box fights, or realistics. And zero builds is kind of the same way as well. There's much better players in the other maps, but if you just want to get into a lot of fights in a very short time span to like warm up, you know, or practice with a new weapon, or like when something gets buffed or nerfed, I think the pit maps can be great for that because you could just get in so many fights very quickly. The next map will be Rapid Zero Build 2v2. And I think if you're actually trying to improve in Zero Build, the players in here tend to be a lot better than that of the pit. And the player base of this map is pretty healthy from what I've seen in it. Unfortunately, this is a 2v2 map, so if you're playing as a solo, you'll have times where you can get a teammate for sure, but you might have times where your teammate just doesn't play, or like maybe they're eating Easter eggs, who knows what they're doing, you know, they just kind of stand there and look at you while you're fighting the other people. Or players do kind of tend to give up pretty quickly from what I've seen on this map. So you win one round or you lose one round and then your teammate just stops playing. And then the flip side of this can also be true. And it can just kind of ruin your experience where like maybe you're playing and the enemy team has a player go AFK or, you know, not play or just kind of start trolling because they're losing. And the way these work is each duo, one player gets bunkers. Sometimes both get bunkers, but at least one player gets bunkers every round. So like if your teammate isn't playing and they're the one that has bunkers, it's just like very hard for you to even participate in the map, you know? But I think the quality of players when it goes well on this map can be quite good and it can be pretty decent practice. If you're someone who has like a regular squad you play with, then kind of playing this as a 2v2 against each other, like you and your friend versus your other two friends, I think can be a decent way to avoid that problem and kind of having people give up or quit, leave out of the map the moment they lose one round. So if you do have a regular squad, I think you can solve that pretty easily and get in some decent practice. And probably if you're friends with these people and playing with them regularly, y'all are probably on like somewhat of like a similar skill level, you know, or you know how to set the teams up to be somewhat balanced. So if you do have a regular squad, I think playing this in a private match can be super good. But even then, you can play it as a solo or you can go in as a duo. And I think these maps are very good practice. Another realistic style map, it's a bit different, is going to be Prospering's realistics maps. And there's two different maps on here, one for solo and one for duos. And they're done a bit differently in here where like you respawn every round and you can fight over and over again rather than just having like one round, you win the round, you wait a little bit and then you go into the next. So I do like that you can get in fights in here much faster. Unfortunately, though, when I played it, the player base was like lower than it deserves to be, I think for sure. Like I think these maps were quite good, but that's just kind of a problem a lot of zero build maps have. I also wasn't the biggest fan of how fast the rounds could end. I would rather it just kind of go on for much longer or maybe never even end. So you just get in fight after fight after fight after fight after fight, you know, and just build that muscle memory, get that repetition, get the practice in like as fast as possible. I already kind of talked about how like playing the map to win or to have the most kills really doesn't matter if all you're trying to do is practice and get better. And having the rounds end after a few minutes, I feel like just kind of kills the momentum, but it is what it is. There's probably a lot of people that like that they can, you know, be the winner of that round. That's just my preference, is that it never ends. But I do think Prospering's realistics maps are very good. And if you are looking for a map where you can just get into a lot of fights and maybe not have it be as chaotic as the pit, or be a little more realistic of like a scenario of what you'll encounter in game than the pit, I think these maps can be good, and both will be linked in the description. I'll have the codes for them. If you want to practice with snipers, I think the zero build pit or prospering maps work really well. But there also is a sniper one-shot map I'll have in the description if you just want to practice snipers exclusively. For some reason, when I was playing this map, I played it after the recent nerf to the sniper's bullet drop. I'm not sure if this map just has no bullet drop at all for some reason. Like, I don't know if that's something they can change, or if just the arena you fight in isn't very large. But from my experience, it didn't seem like there was bullet drop. So, like, it can be a good map for just practicing your aim with snipers, or maybe like your flicks, and getting used to using a different scope or a different sensitivity. But I think as far as like learning bullet drop goes, this map wasn't very good, and playing Prospering's map or playing the zero build pit will probably be a better kind of place to do that. But the one-shot sniper map will be linked in the description as well, or the code for it will be in the description as well, along with all the other maps. And so those are the maps I recommend, or just some maps. There's countless Fortnite creative maps out there. Like I talked about 2 aim maps. There's probably like hundreds, thousands of different aim maps out there that all do basically the same thing, you know? And the same goes with a lot of these fighting maps. These are just ones that I thought were good. If you want to know what I do every day, it's a bit extreme because I do stream every day. So like I want to warm up before I stream, and this is just kind of how I like to start my day. You know, I usually just put on YouTube videos and play creative, but I usually play the shotgun room in the 0x map for maybe like 5 minutes, and then free build for like 10 minutes, and then Raiders peace control map for like 10 or 15 minutes, and then usually the pit for like 15-20 minutes or so, just to get into a lot of fights. And when I do play the pit, I play the build version just because I am someone who's played builds for a while. So like I always just warm up and practice builds, because like if you can do peace control and you can play build fights out, zero build is just so much easier by comparison. So that's what I do every day before I play and before I stream. If you want to get better, I would highly recommend playing some amount of creative consistently. Like what I do is extreme or like extra, but just 5 to 10 minutes will definitely help you improve much faster than just playing the regular game, just playing like regular BR. But that is going to be it for this video. All of the maps I talked about, their codes will be in the description below. I'll see you guys in the next one. If you enjoyed it, give it a like, subscribe. Thanks for watching.